Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, it was our fault. We made a mistake. The spotter said it was clear. I wasn't clear, and, I didn't want to tear my car up, tear his car up either. I respect everybody, and I demand respect. And, I apologized to the guy when he came over the car, explained to him what happened, and then he took it to another level when he started calling me an idiot and whatever else. And I don't appreciate that. I'm not going to take it. I told him how I felt. I called him out. He didn't show. And so, I'm good with it if he's good with it, but I'm not going to be disrespected by no means.
Yeah, I guess I had a dinner date at Applebee's last night that I didn't find out until it was too late. It's a shame. Love their riblets and boneless wings, but...
Welcome back to Meet Me at Applebee's, your number one unrefined motorsports podcast. Yeah. It's Brian with Rob and Ashley. You don't want to know what you were just talking about, but we'll probably talk about it on the show. So welcome.
Yeah, welcome to Applebee's After Dark, curbside to go, or is that Chili's? Who knows? How are you, True Love? Let's check in with the woman on the program here.
Doing great.
Nice.
Really looking forward to hearing about your X-Lot adventures.
Yeah, those happened. I feel pretty good. I actually made it home on Sunday night, which was a little bit of a surprise, but it doesn't matter. It probably saved me the hangover from hell on Monday, so that all worked out. But how about you, Brian? How you doing?
Doing good. It's been a weird couple days here on my street, but other than that, the heat wave is over in Cleveland. The last couple days have been back to normal, been back out on the bike and dog park and all that stuff, so
nice.
Feeling good.
Yeah, that's good. The weather broke up here, which was awesome for the racetrack, because usually Loudon, even in June up here, it can get into the hundreds, and it was right up.
Yes.
Even on Friday when we got there, I was like, holy fucking shit. But then it rained and the temps dropped, and we were in hoodies the entire weekend, which was awesome. So
that's good. That's the rest of the country was not dealing with that, so
yeah, it was pretty nice. So usually rain at a racetrack sucks, but for this reason, I was more than happy.
I mean, it also helped the race. So
yes,
we'll get into
it fucking did.
It saved it.
It absolutely did.
So as clearly we mentioned, NASCAR was in New Hampshire this weekend, and Rob, what exactly did you go to? Do we want to talk about? I know you went to the modified race also. You obviously went to the Cup race in Xfinity.
Oh, I went to it all, baby. I went there to the dirt track on Friday night. A few nights in the X-Lot. It was pretty box standard, all-inclusive weekend at Loudon for me. I got up there on Friday afternoon, got the camper parts and all that. Campgrounds are fucking packed. Yeah. I know they've closed down some campgrounds. It's kind of that right-sizing thing, which a lot of people will try and shit on a good crowd at a racetrack, or people talking about sellouts and things like that. But honestly, it really kind of improved the mood a little bit. Mm-hmm. When there's a lot of people there that are all somewhat like-minded, or at least there for the same reason, you can feel that energy. And that's definitely how it was when I got there on Friday. My band went up there, or at least Ben and Nick from These Wild Plains. Ben, of course, was kind enough to bring the family camper up, and we got set up in the X-Lot. My good buddy Adam came up for his first NASCAR weekend ever. Finally got a weekend away from the kids, and we
NASCAR
definitely...
virgin.
It's true. He's gone to a couple short tracks with me before, but he's been to Seekonk and Stafford, I think is what it was. But this is his first NASCAR weekend, and I think I'm pretty sure he had a good time, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, the rain was just, it was always there. Mm-hmm. Like, if there wasn't action on track, and even sometimes when there was, it was at least misting, which was kind of frustrating, just walking around in a wet hoodie all day. I actually left my rain jacket at home, so I had to go purchase a rain suit at Walmart because it was funny and it was cheaper. So,
hey, Ashley gave me shit for doing that when we went to North Wilkesboro, but nice. Guess who was nice and dry during a little bit of rain?
Yeah. I never really wore the pants out in public. They were a little too long, and there's a lot of pee-pee on the ground at Loudon, so I decided it would probably be best to not do that, but the rain jacket served me well. Yet another Ozark Trail product that I'm happy to stamp my approval on. But yeah, we got set up, had a few beers, had some dinner, and then decided to walk over to the big track and check out what we could of Xfinity qualifying before the dirt races started. Again, my phone already really wasn't working all that well, and the only reason I knew what was going on was based on some texts I was getting from the Speedway. I'm not sure how those were getting through, but magically they were, giving us all the updates from the track. I do recommend if you go to an SMI racetrack, I'm pretty sure most tracks have this functionality, but just sign up for the alerts. It's really helpful, especially when there was a schedule change or something like that, and there certainly was at Loudon, except they didn't really tell us much about the qualifying other than they were just in hold. And we went over there and watched them roll the Xfinity cars out, and we watched some jet dryers for 20 minutes, and then they called it. So that was pretty cool. And I was like, well, this is going to be the whole fucking weekend.
It certainly seemed like it from like looking at the weather on Friday. I was like, man, that fucking sucks for you, bud.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've been to so many races at Loudon. I know what I'm getting into. The only one I really actually care about seeing is the modified race, which they did move up to 10 a.m. on Saturday, which I love a good morning race. I got no problem with getting the feature out of the way. So if it does rain, I have a whole day of goofing off in the campground to do. But Friday night was first. We went over to the dirt track to watch Chase Briscoe take on the sprint cars of New England. There was also a midget feature, some micro sprints, all sorts of shit. And we got there just in time to see the delayed sprint car heats start to roll off. They went out there and kind of buzzed the track at like 20 miles an hour for what felt like half an hour. And then they called them off, and they're like, well, the track's not in good enough condition to do the heats, so we're going to call these guys off, and we're going to send the micro sprints out there. And this is my buddy Adam's first dirt race, right? So he looks at me and he's like, what are micro sprints? And I was like, oh, they're these little tiny ones. They got wings on them and shit, you know, and usually it's like kids or something. He's like, so it's not safe enough for the big cars, but they're going to send the little kids out there? And I'm like, yeah, actually, that's exactly what they're going to do. And that's what they did. They sent the little 600cc winged micro sprints out there. They wrecked like 2 or 3 times. They ran like 4 laps, and they called the feature. And that sort of became the theme of the night. I think probably the most laps that got run by a single division maybe was the midgets, but I'm not even really sure about that. They just kept calling these features about halfway, just trying to get the show in. And the sprint car feature, of course, Chase Briscoe was there, and I think that's why a lot of the people at the track were there. Because sprint car racing in New England's not really that big of a thing. So there's definitely some people there who came with the teams and sort of followed the local series, but the majority of the folks are NASCAR fans just trying to catch a glimpse of what dirt racing is all about. And instead of running a 30-lap feature, they split the field in half and ran 2 15-lap features for half the purse in each one. Which Chase Briscoe was pretty fast, but he ended up jumping the cushion. And I think he came in third. Congratulations to Will Hull and Matt Tanner for taking a cool 1,500 home apiece for their troubles. And I gotta say, man, like, not even the Aerosmith cover band made it through. They canceled. They didn't even play.
Oh, no.
They let off one big firework, and that was it. They shouldn't have run this fucking race. Like, the track was an absolute shambles. There was like one lane and then like some sort of medieval mud pit on either side. Looked like a World War I battlefield out there. And it's shocking to me that, you know, I appreciate them trying to put on a show, but really they probably shouldn't have fucking run on that track. It was terrible. But we had a good time, and we went back to the X-Lot after that, kind of lamenting what a dog shit race we just watched. But then again, you know, sprint cars are cool no matter what, no matter how you get to see them.
Yeah, you're at the track. You're already hanging
exactly.
out.
Exactly. We don't get to see them that often, but just, yeah, they really shouldn't have done that. Went back to the X-Lot, started wandering around. I think Friday night was definitely the heaviest partying night. I think we were up to like 2 or 3 in the morning. I can't remember. Hung out with some Army guys who had a really cool fucking trailer set up that kind of folded out like some sort of like fair ride. It was like all like steel and shit. It was crazy. It had shingles on it. It was amazing.
What?
Hung out there for a little while, drank some of their beers, you know, played a game of Who's the Gayest. And my buddy Adam and I were about to win, but then we realized 2 of the guys had matching belts on, and they won the title of the gayest on the barge. So, but they were great guys. It's real, you know, lowbrow shit. That just set the tone for the rest of the night.
I've never played that game at a NASCAR race.
Well, we did. That's the X lot for you. After that, we just kind of wandered around some more, went down and checked out the bar at the entrance. I think it's called Red 32. I think they go to Daytona and a bunch of other places too. It's kind of a landmark in a lot of NASCAR campgrounds. This huge bar setup. That was pure fucking chaos. One of my favorite characters I saw was this probably 300-pound dude, just in a pair of gray, old school, like sweat shorts. They're probably sweatpants that got cut off into shorts. Riding around one of those little like mini bikes that you can do burnouts on.
Nice.
And he was just riding around beeping at people with his mouth. Beep, 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 beep. And then just, ripping a fat wheelie, and then almost falling off of it. And he just did that for a long time. Every time he walked past, he was doing it. It was hours of him doing that, blackout drunk. There was a shot tent pretty close to our camper, which was nice. And this is where our first DARF of the week comes from. We walk up to this guy, and they have a whole table of liquor out there and just accepting donations is what they called it for shots. I really don't know what the donations were going to, probably just to replenish the liquor cabinet, but this guy was a fucking idiot. And at this point, we all knew that the modified race was going to be happening at 10 the next morning. And these guys, there was only one guy who could still speak behind this table. Everybody else was just sitting in their lawn chairs, just like with, like they were on fentanyl or something with their heads like dipped down between their legs, just out.
I mean, there might have been.
And it could have been. This is New England after all. But I asked the guy, I was like, man, you all gonna be ready for the modified race tomorrow at 10? You guys are pretty tore up. And then he goes, nah, man, I'm a Sunday only guy. I'm gonna be at the track bar. And I was just like, okay. Say, I'll be here tomorrow all fucking day, brother, and that's how you do it around here. And I was just like, all right.
Jesus Christ.
So I drank a couple more shots and didn't pay for them and left.
Yeah. As you should.
I scanned his little Venmo thing and just put my phone back in my pocket and went on. So later on in the night, we went past looking for more, and that guy was also passed out in his chair with his head down. My buddy Adam was hilarious. He walked over there and tried to dad him. He was like, hey, guys, wake up. You got to clean up. You gotta clean this stuff up. Later on, we ended up at the end of the campground, all the way towards the tree line, which was nice. We found some actual race fans, modified folks, and then they had a mixture of people who had never been to a NASCAR campground anyway. We had us a nice time. I forget who it was, but somebody found some weed on the ground, which was kind of cool, or it was a joint. So we not all of us, but I definitely I led the charge and smoked that, so that was nice.
That ground weed.
Hell yeah, ground weed. I respect the hell out of it.
Have we learned lessons from mysterious weed on the ground from this year yet?
Apparently not.
Hold on. What other ground weed?
I can't comment.
Okay.
I can't say names, but
You had your own experience?
no.
No.
Tulsa? Does that ring a bell?
Oh yes.
yeah.
No, I remember now. I remember now.
So this is a theme in my life, I guess, just finding weed on the ground.
It just follows you around.
But it was about 2:30 in the morning. I was like, you know what? As soon as I finish this bush, it's bedtime. This is gonna set me off or not. And either way, I really don't care. So we're gonna find out. And I don't think it was actually weed. I think it was like CBD or something like that. It didn't really taste like much of anything, and it made me feel
That's all.
just kind of relaxed. Before you know it, I was riding around in a pair of sweatpants on one of those little bikes, beeping at people. But honestly, a pretty subdued night in the X lot. It's definitely kind of crazy, and I'm sure if we went into other parts of the campground, we could have gotten to something a little bit more wild. But yeah, honestly, like, I know there was chaos, but we kind of missed all of it somehow. Definitely a lot of drinking, a lot of, hanging out with strangers, which is what NASCAR campground's all about. But yeah, nothing too wild to report. But yeah, about 3 a.m. we decided to pack it in and head on back to the camper because we wanted to watch modified racing the next morning, which we did. I think we woke up at 8, which was amazing. I was amazed I was able to get up after all that.
Yeah, wow.
No hangover. Felt excellent.
Wow.
Had a coffee, went into the racetrack. That race was fucking awesome. A lot of wrecks, unfortunately, but of course Justin Bonsignor coming through and getting the big win there. Andy Seiss was ready to kill Austin Beers, and rightfully so. He did kind of send him up from the fence, and there was a lot of other dumb moves that wrecked some modifieds. Again, it was a very cold racetrack. I'm almost amazed they got this race in. Rain was kind of threatening, and it was super cold. And pretty much as soon as that race ended, the clouds kind of opened up and it started misting. So, but yeah, again, I've said this 50,000 times on this show. The modified race at Loudon is easily the best show of the weekend. Typically speaking, anyway. This year, I guess we have something different to talk about, but we'll get there in a few minutes. After that, what happened after that? Fuck. I mean, did you guys watch the modified race on Flow at all?
No, I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Yeah, it's definitely the highlights are on YouTube now, and maybe even the full feature. It's definitely worth a watch. It was a pretty killer race. It was nice to see Chase Dowling in the 44. I think last week I mentioned that Doug Kobe was in the 10 44, which I was incorrect about that. It was actually Chase Dowling doing a one-off, and he's always super good at Loudon, and he definitely had himself in the mix there. Justin Bonsignore's cousin, Kyle Bonsignore, was chasing him pretty much the whole time. Luke Baldwin really handled himself very, very well in his debut, and the Wheel of Modified Tour. He was running top 5 all day, and I don't know if he had a shot at winning it, but unfortunately he got wrecked out by no fault of his own. I forget who put him in the fence, but yeah, he was really impressing a lot of people. And yeah, just a great fucking race. Modified races are always good, and especially at Loudon. So if you ever have a chance to go to that, just fucking do it. After that, it was raining. It seemed like qualifying was going to rain out, and sure enough, it did. So we went down to the fan zone, walked around there. I was so disappointed to find out that there was no lip pillow content, no nicotine anywhere in the fucking fan zone. I've heard all the stories about, oh, it's $10s is in. Oh, it's $2. Oh, you better come on. You better bring a bag, buddy, because you're gonna walk out. Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing down there.
My heart hurts for you, Rob.
Yeah.
My lips do too.
Yeah. At least the Zyn shortage in New Hampshire seems to be not as bad as it is in other places of the country. Because every gas station I went to was full up, so I just bought some of my favorite flavors, and I was good to go. But I was definitely disappointed to not bring a surplus home. So, yeah, I think New Hampshire Motor Speedway did a great job overall as far as fan experience is concerned, especially considering the task of trying to fight the weather that they had. But this was my one big disappointment, was the fact that I couldn't get my little treats for very cheap or free. So live free or die on my ass.
It's because Noah Gregson has them all in his cabinet at home.
It's true. He took them all. That photo on Instagram is fucking amazing.
Yeah. Someone should count. I'm not going to count.
I wonder if that's a stock or if that's actually all gone in his body.
I would hope he's not keeping the empties. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, he is a bro. That's kind of a bro. It's like
little trinkets.
It's the new like lining up your Jägermeister bottles on top of the cabinet, but
yeah.
But yeah,
Make like a wizard staff out of them.
Exactly. It'd take a while to get a tall one, but Noah could definitely do that. Fuck, at this point, I probably could too if I saved him. But the one thing that the fan zone did have, there was a pretty cool little Monadnock Speedway setup. They had a bunch of their cars off in the corner you can get your picture taken with and all that. Toyota had a big presence, nice little fan zone with a bunch of funny cardboard cutouts. You actually get to see just how small Tyler Reddick and Ty Gibbs are. And I'm also pretty sure Bubba Wallace's head is not as small as they made it on his, but, you know, it's kind of funny to imagine that. Giant neck, tiny little head. I don't know. I've never met Bubba, so I can't vouch for that, but it seemed like a rendering issue. But
Did you get any cool merch or what?
I did get some merch. I'll get to that in a second. I was going to say that the coolest thing they had, though, was a wonderful stunt dog show.
Oh yes,
which we went
saw
to.
the video.
We went to twice. Well, since qualifying got rained out, we had nothing else to do, and it's like, well, I don't go back to the trailer and sit around. Let's just watch these beautiful dogs. And the turf was a little too wet to do some of the big stunts, but like, come on back at 2:00. And we'll do the full show.
They brought out the jet dryers.
And that we did. Yeah, they dried it. They put the covers on the dogs, and they got it all dried up. And boy, they put on a show at 2:00. Some high jumping, just good dogs. And yeah, it was great. I shotgunned a beer in front of them because I figured shotgunning a beer at a dog show at a NASCAR race is a sentence that I will never have another opportunity to partake in. So we made sure we did that.
It was a perfect perfect video. It was a lot of people saw it. It did well.
I think Ben was fucked with me because he took one and he was like, I didn't get it. You got to do it again. I was like, fuck. So I did.
What a hardship. Yeah. Rob.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How dare he? But as we showed up to the second dog show, you could hear cars on track. And the thing is, like, I've never heard of NASCAR canceling qualifying and then having practice.
Neither have I don't think.
Because off in the distance,
weird.
you could hear something. Is like, is that the jet dryers? Because that sounds intense. And nope, it was practice. They got 5 minutes in, and Carson Hocevar topped the board, and that was that. Which, by the way, he was out in the stands hanging out watching the Xfinity race. He was right behind us as we were walking out after that race, and a lot of people were coming up and saying what's up. And, you know, he was kind of low-key, just shaking hands and hanging out.
Someone who wasn't low-key, which I just remembered this from the broadcast, there was a shot of... it was the top of the grandstands, and it was. I think it was not. It wasn't raining. The race was about to start, and Corey LaJoie was standing there, like trying to get in the shot. He very clearly was like trying to get in the shot, and some security guy tries to pull him out until the guy's like, "No, I'm Corey LaJoie. Leave me here." And yeah, that was.
Security guard's like, who the fuck?
Then on Sunday, Corey LaJoie did his best to take himself out of the broadcast. So
He made himself the show Sunday too.
Yeah. That was the best part of the race up until the rain, but the Xfinity race was cool. Not much to really say about it. I thought it was a pretty great race, especially for Loudon standards. Christopher Bell getting the win, but not in the way I think a lot of us imagined he would. He definitely had a really fast car, but, you know, clean air is king at Loudon, and, you know, once Cole Custer got out there, he kind of ran away with it, and I was a little shocked to see that. He was definitely fast, but early on, how fast Christopher Bell was... I never imagined anybody else would have anything for him. Sheldon Creed, it was kind of fun to watch him choke yet again. I liked that.
Man, he is so good at that.
So good at second place. And then Sammy Smith is a fucking clown for taking out Justin Bonsignor, who also was running up front all day. Again, everyone in the house was excited to see him running a Gibbs car. And anytime anything happened with him, especially when he was up front, the stands were electric. To see one of the local boys up there tearing it up.
He had a great day until he didn't.
I am not a Justin Bonsignor fan by any means, but the second he gets into a venue or a series that he's never been in before, everyone is a fan of whoever that is, and that was Justin Bonsignor on Saturday. So I was really sad to see him get taken out by Sammy Smith, burning some more of the check he brings.
I think Sam Mayer might have got into Sammy Smith that helped him get in.
It was a couple of juniors kids.
Yeah.
that, I choose to blame Sammy Smith, but yeah.
Well, okay.
I find Sam Mayer just as annoying. So yeah, they definitely both played a hand in that. But either way, Justin Bonsignor ended up around, and that was it. So damn shame. But yeah, congrats to Christopher Bell. Definitely set the tone for Sunday. Which I mean, we don't need to. We'll talk about the race a little bit more in a second here, but we all know he fucking won that, so there's no surprise there. He stomped them on Sunday. Saturday night, we kept it pretty mellow. Ben was going to end up going home on Sunday night since it looked like we were going to get the race in, so Sunday was sort of planned to be a little bit more of a mellow day, and so we had plans to go hard, and what we did was we went down and decided to watch the AC/DC cover band.
And that didn't, like, put you in the right mood to go hard?
Well, I mean, I definitely drank a lot of beers, don't get me wrong, but, like, we stood down there for a little bit, and then the singer made this announcement from the stage. He was like, all right, you know, this is our 5th year of doing this, and if we don't see you for a while, just know that it's been a great time and we love you guys very much. And I got sad. I was like, fuck, this is the last time. And after all that shit I've talked, now I gotta stand here and watch it. And so we did. We just kept
Tim
song.
Duggar replacing them next year?
Probably so. I mean, who the fuck else could it be? You know, maybe they're giving the Aerosmith band that got rained out a shot next year. But
that's fair.
But yeah, they rocked. They really did. And then I looked at my phone, and we've been standing there for 2 fucking hours. So we decided that was enough. Went back to the campground, and everyone was just fucking exhausted and cold and wet. And I didn't even make another lap around the campground that night. When we got back to the X lot, it was again pretty subdued. And I think business picked up after I kind of tucked into my lawn chair. I saw some police lights out in the street and all that. So something happened. Some lady.
Did y'all check on the shot tent guys again at all?
Oh, they were there, but and I wanted to go back, but I don't know. I didn't want to talk to that fucking guy again, knowing he was going to be the Darf of the week, and afraid that I might slip up that I have a podcast that he might listen to. But no, he's a Sunday only guy. He doesn't give a shit about any of this. So fuck that guy. And the bar he was talking about going to as well is like super expensive to get into.
Jesus Christ.
And you can't bring your own drinks in there.
No.
And
this gets worse by the second.
Yeah, it's just like I can't understand like. NASCAR, particularly in New England, is one of the cheapest professional sports events you can go to. I think all in for the four of us, it was less than $600 total for everyone. Maybe $800, something like that. For four people, for 3 days of racing, plus a campsite, you can bring your own food and beer in. And I just don't understand why the fuck you would ever spend more money on going to a bar while you're at the racetrack when you don't have to do it. But anyway, that's the Darf of the Week number 1, Redux. So yeah, Saturday was pretty subdued. Sunday, I woke up, I went down to the shower center, and that was always like going to jail. And then I swung into the old Rusty Lantern, which is a really nice convenience store they have right at the edge of the track. And I picked myself up some batteries and a buzz ball. And then I went across the street to the Gypsy Tents, and I gotta say, I wasn't expecting much. They've been pretty lackluster in years past. Not this year. It was like a complete reversal from what I've experienced before. It was mostly vintage stuff, which was amazing. I got the Jeff Bodine Levi Garrett hat that everyone wants. This lady just had a stack of them, and they are definitely original.
How much were they selling for?
I paid $40 for it.
That's about what you pay online for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was the thing. The prices were definitely, it wasn't cheap like it used to be. They kind of knew what they had.
Yeah, the one vintage tent that I went to at Darlington, like I got a couple shirts from him that weren't too overpriced, but he had like basic Earnhardt shirts for $150 that like I would sell for $30 or $40. So
that was also the case. All the Earnhardt stuff was just ungodly expensive.
It's probably the exact same tent that I went to be honest, because I think they go to all of them. So
probably so, yeah. But there's a lot of good stuff there. I definitely tried to keep my wallet in my jeans as much as possible because I just couldn't justify cleaning him out of all the shit I wanted to get. I can't think of anything too wild they had beyond that hat, which I guess isn't all that rare, but it's just something I've been looking for a long time. And to see several of them in person. And like I said, they're bona fide. There's no question about it. Like, it's not a knockoff or anything like that. These are original hats. So
better not be.
I was very fucking stoked. I also picked up, I went into one tent, and I don't know if you've met this lady before, because I think she travels around too. This little Asian lady. I walk in there. She's running the tent, and we're talking for a second. And she's like, "Hey, can you just watch the tent for a second? I really got to go pee." And I was just, before I could even say yes, she's like, "I'll be right back," and just runs off. So now I'm manning a gypsy tent, She was quick, and she came back, and this is probably the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. She's like, "Thank you for watching the tent. You just can't ask anybody. You seem nice." And I was like, "Thank you." And then
that's a compliment. That's nice.
It was very nice. She didn't give me a discount on the diecast they bought, but whatever. It's okay. And then I did pick up a little Alan Kowicki diecast for like $5. I think it was like a 132 scale or something like that. And I brought it up to the guy in the tent. And he just kind of looked at me and looked at it and just had this silent look. And I was like, "What the fuck is this guy about to say to me? Is this not the price?" And he just goes, "Ma'am, not many people your age remember Alan.
What do you mean your age?
He was the man." And I was just like, fucking right he was. So we stood and talked about Alan Kowicki for like 10 minutes. And by this point, my friends think I'm dead because I have been gone for like an hour and a half. So I drove back to the campground, drank my buzzball, went into the racetrack. Nothing really too exciting to report from in there. I did pick up that cool Todd Gilliland t-shirt, the pickle car one. That's an excellent design.
Yeah. Love a great giant face on the front of a shirt.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention this. In between then and there, we did stop by the fan zone to check out Trackside Live. Of course, John Roberts and the great Uncle Kenny Wallace was there interviewing people. He was fired up for that time of Sunday morning. He was sailing.
Practicing making sex tapes.
Yeah. Ben leaned into me and he's like, boy, he's a real knee grabber, isn't he? He likes to grab knees. And I was like, yes, he does. He was.
Now that you mention that, I definitely remember seeing a clip online. I was like, well, he's very touchy.
Yeah, he was definitely patting on Ross Chastain, which, by the way, he came off as a real human. It was kind of cool.
He's can pull off his humanness when he needs to.
When the cameras aren't on, he's definitely a little bit more of a normal guy. So I can commiserate with that. And it was funny. He kind of alluded to the fact that he'd rather not talk to fans, but he knows he has to. but he appreciates everyone. Yeah. Tyler Reddick was really funny too. He came out and talked for a little while, and then Martin Truex came out and they gave him a cake and a lobster that had been cast in I don't know, some sort of lacquer of some sort.
Lacquered lobster and cake. Yeah. What a combo.
And then you got to hear Kenny Wallace kiss NASCAR's ass because Steve Phelps was up there.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, not Steve Phelps. Who runs SMI?
Marcus Smith.
Marcus Smith, that's what it was. Yeah. And he said something like, "Man, you've gotten a lot of spats with drivers and people, about the decisions you've made. How does it feel to keep winning?" Which to that I just let out a Yeah, that was kind of fucking annoying.
As much as you love Kenny, he still has his moments where you just got to shake your head because he can still be dumb once.
SMI is the one paying him to be there, so I guess he does have to kind of suck the boss's dick a little bit. But
that's true.
It is what it is. It was awesome to see Uncle Kenny. I shotgunned a beer in front of him too, so there's also video of that. So it became the theme of the weekend: shotgunning beers in front of dogs, which is what I did. But yeah, we went back to the campsite after that. Got everything packed up because some severe weather was supposed to move in, and there have been a lot of people who had lost pop-up tents and awnings, and it is fucking amazing to me how many people do not secure those fucking tents. Mm-hmm. They just put them up. They just put the fucking things up, and you're just in a big open field where the lightest breeze can send that thing up to the moon. And that just happened all the time. I've never seen so much Ozark Trail carnage out in the campground than this weekend, but yeah, we had ours weighted and ratchet strapped and the whole thing, so and we were smart. But we decided to take it down just in case because there was a tornado warning that came in a little after the race. It was projected to be pretty bad, so we kind of read the tea leaves and made the decision to pack up and be ready to go after the race for sure. And then we got down into the track, absolutely wall-to-wall packed. So packed. I don't think I've seen the grandstands this packed even before they took grandstands out. It looked completely full.
Yeah,
from
it
my
definitely
perspective.
looked very full on TV too.
And there was absolutely no cell phone reception. One thing that is annoying about Loudon is that they're still keeping a lot of the COVID sort of restrictions in place as far as being cashless. Your ticket has to be on your phone. They don't do paper tickets or screenshots or anything like that anymore. It has to be on your phone. So they have a little Wi-Fi network set up, and so the security takes forever because no one knows how to use their phones apparently.
And even Darlington has their shit so dialed now that you're just in and out of there. Even if there's 100 people in front of you.
Once you got up front, it was fine. Getting through security was a breeze, but just having to wait behind everybody trying to figure out how to get their phones to have the tickets on them and all that was a little bit of a piece of me died during that. As far as the race is concerned, before we go any further, I guess, do you guys have any thoughts on the Xfinity race or anything like that? Anything that happened?
No, I mean, I mentioned this. I slept through probably the last third of it. Real quick, I probably mentioned this, but my Saturdays are usually an early day. I'm up at 5:30 in the morning for the flea markets. Then I'm riding my mountain bike afterwards, and then by the time I get home for whatever races in the afternoon, I'm usually a little tired. So I had a few beers and maybe a little weed and just nodded off a little bit towards the end of the race there. But again, I miss. No ground weed. I buy my weed at the store, thankfully.
Yeah.
But
I let God give weed
flea
to
market,
me.
real weed. But yeah, I missed my boy Creed choking again. So whatever.
Boy, did he.
It's fine.
Yeah, I thought it was a great race until the end, and then it just turned into like a shit show where Haley Deegan was bringing out the caution in the back every fucking 5
Yeah,
minutes.
her and Armani had a little private contest going to see who could annoy me the most up in the stands. No clear winner.
I have a feeling she's not keeping her Haas ride next year, but we'll talk about that.
So,
Not good.
yeah, it was. I thought we were going to see a Cole Custer win, and then his best friend Sheldon Creed bumped him out of the way,
Yeah.
and then allowed Cole to get back to him and took away his chance too. So a little tit for tat there.
Yeah.
BFFs.
Bud's kissing,
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of Christopher Bell, of course, one of the funniest things, actually a lot of happenings at Joe Gibbs over the weekend.
He had a very full weekend of being in the limelight.
Announcing news he shouldn't have, and the bus burned down, which I didn't do that.
I would hope not. I
Didn't do
Jesus.
it. Wasn't me.
I know you like Bell. Why would you?
Wasn't
why would you
me.
do that?
Yeah, I would never do that to the Prince of Pleats. But yeah, he announced that Chase Briscoe was going to be in the car, and that was one of the funniest press conferences I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that got a lot of jokes from other drivers and stuff. So everybody, I don't know how much shit he actually got in with Gibbs, but I mean they made the announcement today.
Well, they let Christopher Bell make the announcement today. So.
Oh, did they?
He made the official announcement. Yeah,
They let him finish what he started.
That's great. That's great. See, so again, he had such a good weekend. There's no way that could have ruined everything. Who gives a shit?
But yeah, the Cup race was. Pretty standard fare for Loudon. Again, I don't know what they can do as far as the TV broadcast is concerned to make that place look like it does in person. I just don't know what they can really do because it just looks so slow on TV, and you don't really get to see and feel what it's like. And I know that's the way for every television broadcast. There's always a massive gulf between the at-track experience and what you see on your television at home. But just something about Loudon, it just films slow. And it's
for sure.
And the cars do get strung out, but there's a lot of battles happening, especially towards the mid-pack. There was a lot in 2 and 3 wide all day. So I thought that was a pretty good race anyway, even though it probably didn't play too well on television for the first 2/3.
Yeah, not so much.
Yeah, Corey LaJoy wrecking brought great joy to me. It was like a who's who of who I just don't give a fuck about having problems in that race. Austin Dillon sucking. Kyle Busch having one of the worst days of his fucking life out there.
I mean, before he even started wrecking, Kyle Busch was already 31st a lap down. So
Well, that's the thing. Like when you have a couple bad weeks, you're already pretty far back in qualifying, right? Like you have an early draw, and then especially when it rains out, the algorithm or the metrics they use to set the field, it buries you anyway. So yeah, he was fucked from the start in the FICO Chevrolet, which is such a weird sponsor, the credit score. But much like probably a lot of the listeners and my own credit score, he finished low in the field. So. What else happened?
I think I counted, and I think LaJoy was involved in like 6 incidences on Sunday.
Really going for Job Hunter Nemechek's crash race title.
Job ended up having a pretty good day.
Top 10.
Top 10, yeah.
Which was shocking.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else from the first half or 2/3 of that race that was worth mentioning. I know I'm missing something.
Bowman blew an engine.
Yep.
Yes, he did.
His first time at Hendrick.
Logano also had issues before. Or no, was that after?
That was the first half of the race. Yeah, he had a real bad day. Truex had a really bad day on pit road too.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is definitely maybe the first time I was actually hoping that they wouldn't go back to green, because the way things would have potentially finished, I would have definitely earned my biggest bets on Gilliland and Reddick, finishing where they would have finished. I still ended up winning a few bucks on a few people, but that would have been my biggest cash out of the season so far.
Well, let me tell you, bud, I was convinced that you were going to win because when we were hiding under the grandstands, it was torrentially downpouring. Like, it was fucking raining. Like, it wasn't a mist. It wasn't like it had been the whole weekend where it's kind of manageable. This was a deluge. And it was nasty. And I was like, there's no fucking way. There's absolutely no way. And so with that in mind, Ben and I decided that we would treat ourselves to a Bloomin' Onion because they had a stand there.
What?
Yeah, we went and got a nice fried onion, a split. I don't know how they got away with calling it a Bloomin' Onion because that is trademarked, bud. But they did. It was like the Knights of Columbus or some shit like that. So I guess who's going to come after that?
They get away with it. It's fine.
They put a G at the end of it, so it's...
Bloomin' Onion. Anyway, this fucking thing was $20, but we still went for it. And it was pretty good.
You're supporting a charity or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, whatever the Knights of Columbus or the fucking Lions Club or whatever it was, yeah.
What day did you eat that fried Oreo that you
was
sent us?
Saturday. I got a bag of them.
A bag?
Yeah, there's only 5 in a bag. But my God, if you've never had a fried Oreo, that is just pure decadence right there, folks. Yeah. Nothing better than a fried Oreo.
Did yours have ants on it?
No. And if there were, they were baked into the batter, so I didn't even notice. And at that point in the day, I was pretty far in my cup there, so it wouldn't have even mattered to me.
No.
I was just waiting for AC/DC. That's all there was to it. But the Bloomin' Onion was pretty good. We stood under the grandstands trying to dodge all the drippies, because that's how it goes at an SMI track or any track with metal grandstands, There's gross drippies of rain and piss and beer and just sweat and vomit and sadness, Corey LaJoy's ego just dripping right through those stands from Saturday. And we're standing there. The only sauce they had left was honey mustard, which is fine. And we're standing there, and I got a big piece of this this oily onion, this $20 oily onion. I mean, by the way, this thing was so oily that fucking George Bush would have started a war over this fucking thing. It was dripping. And I'm about to dip in that honey mustard, and from the sky comes one of the largest raindrops I've ever seen in my life, and just lands directly in the center of the honey mustard. Heavy enough to make the bloop noise. And Ben and I kind of look at each other and was like, you saw that, right? So we raw dogged the onion from there. It was very satisfying. That was the rest of our calories for the rest of the year. I'm going to do like 10,000 steps an hour to get rid of that thing. But it was I guess it was worth supporting, I don't know, whoever the fuck, Wizards of Columbus, whatever the fuck it is.
Now, could you hear Larson's spotter berating him from the grandstands?
No, you could feel it, though. No, I found out about that after the race. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Just pushing your bro a little too hard,
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. I don't know if I think they're friends, so that's probably water under the bridge, but... But yeah, so we were... after we finished the youngin', and it's just like, well, do we go back to the camper and wait? Do we get out of here? Just trying to discuss what we want to do, and then you hear the jet dryers come out. It's like, holy fuck, they're actually going to try and dry this track. And about 2 minutes later, just by being close enough to the ticket Wi-Fi at the gate, I get another text from the Speedway saying, racing starting in approximately 30 minutes. And I was like, holy fucking shit, they're bringing out the rain tires, like, for real. And so me and Ben and maybe like 36 other people decided to make our way back into the grandstands. And let me tell you, it was, I don't know how visible it was on television for how wet the track was. But the inside groove where everyone was cooling their tires off, there was a good 6 to 8 inches of water down there. Jesus. Like, it was a huge, huge puddle. And I couldn't believe what I was about to see. And as we're waiting for it, a friend of the program, or at least friend of my band, Kyle Beckman, photographer for Justin Haley, we sat kind of in front of his pit box. We were sending pictures of each other back and forth. from a very far distance because he was down in the pit box and I was up in the stands. I was trying to encourage him to quit his job and come and drink beers with us, and he wouldn't do it. So the beer lines were closed for Kyle. Yeah. But Justin Haley was having another career day, so I guess he had to stay down there and take his little pictures. But, you know. But anyway, once racing got started, holy fuck, man. Again, I did watch a little 15-minute highlight reel of the race when I got home from the racetrack, and that was cool. But when I say the racing was spectacular for those first 20 or 30 laps, like, I fucking mean it. That was easily the best racing I've ever seen, maybe at a cup race in person, but definitely at Loudon. It looked like a dirt late model feature. You know, guys ripping the fence, guys completely down on the apron, running the PlayStation 2 line that I used to get pole in NASCAR 2006. Total team control. I'll do that there, and I get a second on everybody. But I didn't know it was even possible in person and actually in real life, and people just ripping the apron and 4 and 5 wide in back in the pack, and I've never seen anything like that in my fucking life in a NASCAR race.
The TV guys did a good job of telling that story for the people at home and like pointing out why like all the former dirt drivers were doing as well as they were, and why everybody was running where they were. So
and boy, that's who was up front. Yeah, it was Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, Justin Haley, of course, a dirt late model guy, Josh Berry, not a dirt guy, but still, he's a short track guy, so he understands how to run that shit.
They also did a good job of kind of making everything a little bit icky by just kept trying to find the wet. And that phrase was just like, I know what they were trying to say, but I feel like they could have phrased that differently.
What made it worse for me was the insistence of all the broadcasts trying to call them damp tires. That's the terminology they landed on, because NASCAR doesn't want them to say wet tires.
No, they don't want to say rain tires.
Oh, that's
what they don't want them to say.
So damp is where we landed. I fucking hate that.
Yeah. At least it's not moist tires. That would be bad.
Yeah. Cake. But yeah, just fantastic racing, and of course Christopher Bell. He's already good at Loudon, and then to have his short track sort of 100-lap feature, dirt, finding the line kind of skill set in his back pocket, he was able to dominate that second half too. I thought Blaney was going to have a shot for a little while. He was definitely up there. Larson just didn't have good enough car. Like, he was fast enough all day, but
I think if that last caution didn't come out, I think Barry might have maybe not had Bell, but he would have gotten to him. He was coming.
And Chase Briscoe up in the mix too. Just and Ryan Preece also really putting on a show there. So just all these Stuart Haas guys just going for it, and that is the team full of short track guys. That's what they've marketed themselves as, and we got to see that actually in action on Sunday. And of course Christopher Bell won. You can burn out on rain tires or moist tires or what the fuck they're called, the damps. You can burn out the damps apparently. I've never seen that dude so jazzed to win a race either. So,
well, you say he had a great weekend. I've, especially since the Netflix doc, I've really come to respect and kind of like Bell. So, I wasn't upset by the dominance.
No, not at all. And he definitely, he's always good there. And one more thing about the Xfinity race, I guess the car that he won in, that's the same car they've used for Eric Almirola when he got his win. I forget who else has driven it this year. I think it was Dover and Martinsville and then some other place. Anytime that car has touched the racetrack, it's won this year. So that didn't hurt him at all, being able to sweep the weekend. But yeah, good weekend for Christopher Bell, and he didn't get in trouble for making a major announcement without permission. So it'd be funny if he burned the bus down on accident, though.
Just to divert attention.
Trying to make a grilled cheese, But yeah, that was pretty much my weekend at Loudon. We said goodbye after that, and I got caught in one of the scariest rainstorms I've ever been in my fucking life on the highway. But other than that, I made it home nice and safe. Went to Taco Bell and got myself a crunch wrap with a big Cheez-It in the middle of it and called it a night. So that was Loudon 2024. I'm really looking forward to this race moving to September or wherever it ends up in the fall. Again, having a little bit less intense weather was such a nice thing to have. And I know September can still be hot up here, but when that happens, I'm very much looking forward to camping out in New England fall. So
If they do it the first weekend of October, I will be there because I'm always in New York that weekend for this big flea market on Saturday. So if they somehow do it first weekend of October, I will be there 100%.
Yeah. Also, Gateway and Darlington getting back in the playoffs next year at the expense of Homestead, Atlanta, and Watkins Glen being removed. Any thoughts on that?
I have a thought that moving the second Atlanta date back to the summer is the dumbest fucking thing on the planet.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm very pissed about that.
From what everybody says, though, the Homestead thing is apparently they're going to put a lot of work and money into the track after their date next year to try to put a bid in for the finals in 2026. So
fingers crossed
if that's the case, then fine, so be it. I mean, I'd much rather see that race be the finale again. So
100%, yeah. And again, I get a playoff race, and it's not going to be in 3,000 degree weather like it usually is. So I win across the board. So I know a lot of people aren't thrilled about Loudon getting in the mix there, but I don't give a fuck. This is for Daddy. This one's for me. I'm taking my victory and going home.
I mean, it wasn't a bad race. I mean, compared to like Richmond again, like it's a much better option, I think. And yeah, it's a weird track, and people have their thoughts about it. But as it was my home track for years, so I'll never speak too ill about it.
Yeah. What else happened here? Well, yeah, we already mentioned Christopher Bell spilling the beans on Chase Briscoe coming into the team. I think we're all pretty excited about that. Very curious to see what's happening. One thing that we didn't talk about, and I guess we didn't know until earlier today, was that Bass Pro is sticking along with them, so that's kind of cool. Yeah,
I was a little surprised to see that. Is Mahindra staying with them, or did they announce that?
I don't know. They didn't say anything about that. Bass Pro was the only one. He was wearing a Bass Pro shirt anyway. So.
Yeah.
So he's basically getting Truex's team. James Small is going to be there. So I would expect that to go pretty well, honestly. He's a pretty crafty guy, and especially in situations like on Sunday. And speaking of Stuart Haas, apparently Haas is still going to be a team. Apparently.
Yeah, I mean...
But it sounds like it might not be Cole Custer. So...
Well, who is the other person in the running then? If it's
Ryan Preece has been floated as being the guy who might stay there because Custer might already be signed to front row.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, very curious to see how that goes. I did not see Ryan Preece getting a cup ride out of all of this. I figured he.
I didn't either. I thought he'd be the odd man out.
Yeah, especially since Haas is going to have a 1 or 2 car Xfinity program. I kind of figured that's where he would land or somewhere in that series. He's got ties with Gibbs too. I'm sure they welcome him back in. I don't know. I'm talking about my ass here, but again, I never expected a cup ride to come out of it. So hopefully Haas can get their shit together and put something together for Ryan if that does happen, or whoever ends up there. But glad to see them not totally go away.
Well, who do we think's going to Wood Brothers now that Briscoe's not? Have we talked about that?
We've yes and no. It's been kind of an impassing conversation. I don't fucking know, dude. I couldn't tell you.
Gregson doesn't seem like a good fit there. I feel like Barry could, especially if Childers goes with him. Like that'd be pretty cool. I think to see them in that car.
Yeah. Well, the whole RCR thing seems to, because everyone was pretty convinced that Noah was going there with one of those charters from SHR.
Yeah.
And now that Gene Haas is hanging on to one of them, that's one off the table. So I wonder who's going to, be left standing in the duck, duck, goose game that's about to happen here.
Yeah.
I hate silly season.
Yeah.
Oh, well, how do you hate it? I love it.
It stresses me out. It's just
your
all
favorite
over
driver,
the fucking place.
Your favorite driver, it never
not
is
going anywhere.
He's set for life. I'm not worried about that.
You just want to know where Harrison Burton's going to sleep at night?
Who's taking care of little Harry Beat?
But yeah, who the fuck knows, man? Yeah, because... and it sounds like Justin Haley, he said this publicly, he's going to stay at Rick Ware, which is... honestly, not a bad choice.
I mean, he's having a good season.
He really is. It's crazy.
For Rick Ware standards.
But yeah, I'm very curious to see where this all lands. But yeah, Ryan Preece being in the mix is not something I expected, but I'm excited if he does get another shot. But again, I feel the same way about it as I did when he went to Stuart Haas in the first place. You know, that team wasn't doing all that well when he signed on, and I can't imagine that a one-car team with like, you know, a fourth of the resources or whatever is going to be much of a threat either. So I hate to see him just kind of run around the back, and hopefully they are able to focus and put something out there for him or whoever it is. But yeah. Oh well. One more year in Cup, you know, go buy some more horses or whatever the fuck he does down in North Carolina.
What?
So
He has some horses, doesn't he?
Priest?
Yeah, he's got horses.
Oh, I don't know.
yeah, that's. I don't know.
Newman does. But
I guess you guys aren't on the New England modified Twitter circuit. Yeah.
No. But speaking of social media, it's time to get into the blue portion.
It's been a horny week, folks.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
NASCAR.
definitely.
This is what my Twitter feed is full of, not New England modified drivers.
Yeah. So
Buying
to
horses and shit.
start things off, the social media guy from JD Motorsports, which is a Xfinity team with who's it, Garrett Smithley and somebody else.
Formerly Ryan Preece as well. So
Okay, yes, but they're like a lower level Xfinity team. He did a little meme post in reference to the qualifying rain out, using the now world known Hawk Tui girl, which we all know what that meme is. We don't need to get into too deep detail into that, but apparently that did not meet the standards and practices of the team owner, so he is relieved of his duties. And you know, hey, listen, as someone who definitely is not always PG on NASCAR Twitter, I was totally fine with it, but apparently they weren't, and you know, it is what it is.
Jeff Gluck was very upset.
Yes.
Well, they fired him as the social media guy, but they said, hey, you can still keep changing tires for us. So we still need you to do that.
There's still a labor shortage in the industry, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he wasn't losing too much of his paycheck doing that anyway, so you know, no big
Probably
deal.
wasn't getting paid for it at all.
$10 a post.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then from there,
This is the star of the show here.
so Kenny Wallace, I think I just caught on what happened, but I think I don't know if he got 10. Does he have 100,000 followers on YouTube or something? I can't remember what the reference was, but he made some sort of self-congratulatory post about, you know, subscribers, and one of his commenters stated that he should make a sex tape with his wife. So Kenny decided to tweet about this online, like, should I do this? And you know, obviously, a lot of people saw that and reacted as
Brian
you should.
got involved.
Yeah, somehow Kenny retweeted my quote tweet of that, because I was just flabbergasted, as most of us were. I mean,
He just said, "Dear God."
yeah, that's it. And I don't know what else. I don't know what to say to that. And then he actually got his wife to film a response, and she was not up for it. So
Yeah.
maybe Kenny will do his own
No.
his own sex video. Yeah.
Well, before this sex tape tweet, he had also tweeted like the day before in response to a Max Pappas. Max Pappas had tweeted something saying like, why don't most men shave every day now? They look like they live under a bridge. And Uncle Kenny tweeted, I try to stay shaven because my wife likes it better that way for sexual activities.
There's one way to phrase that. Just the most boomer.
The Webster's Dictionary definition of the act.
And Kenny has also more than once reveled in his wife's boobies. He always calls them that. So
30% of the Twitter output.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they were trying to have a nice, wholesome 40th anniversary celebration.
they celebrated all
40
right.
years. 40 years of this, ladies.
40 years.
You know, God bless him. What can you say?
woman.
Seriously, yeah, the most patient woman on earth, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of fucking, Tony Stewart is been doing some of his own. I'll be honest, I thought that she was already pregnant.
Yeah, I had heard like a month ago.
maybe
she
look
was
at you.
pregnant.
Well, maybe just because she was out of the car and he was in the car, maybe I just made the assumption that, if she's not driving because of a kid, that's what it is.
Jostle around a fetus.
Yeah, 300 miles an
300
hour.
miles an hour.
Yeah. If it can take John Force out, then it can certainly kill a baby.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, congratulations to Tony Stewart and
Condolences to
Pruitt.
John Force. Jesus Christ.
Hey, he's still around. That was fucking scary, by the way.
Yeah, he won his 300-mile-an-hour pass, and the engine blew up, and I don't think so. They haven't talked about what his injuries are. I'm just guessing what little I know about this type of stuff. I'm assuming it's some sort of fire, like a burn. It's many burns. I'm assuming, with the engine blowing up how it did. Because I mean, he didn't hit the wall that hard. I guess like he didn't hit it blunt head on.
He's in his mid-70s too, so
yeah. And they have him in the ICU, but have not said anything about life-threatening injuries. Just like he's in the ICU. So. Get well. Man, this would be a shitty way to go out, having another great season, potentially fighting for the championship again, and this happening. So hopefully we get some good news soon. He was going to be in Summit, like this weekend was going to be the Ohio race, and I was going to try to go out to it, but won't be doing that now, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a shame. But yeah, get well soon, John. I know you're not listening to this, but
Well, he's got some free time on his hands.
yeah,
So
he does. Yeah.
someone send him a link.
But there's a lot of fans of the show here that I know who John Force is and give a fuck about him. So let's keep him in your thoughts and prayers, folks, because he definitely needs them. It seems like he's probably gonna recover, but it's just
Yeah, I just hope it's not too bad of a. I hope this doesn't end things. This would be a real shitty way for him to go out.
Yeah, I agree
Well,
with that.
Yeah, the way he is, I feel like he would get back in a car anyway, even if he shouldn't.
Oh yeah.
That he wouldn't want to
Absolutely.
go. He wouldn't want to go out this way. So.
One more pass, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with that unfortunate bummer end to the news, let's move on to the septic tank because
Well, there was one more person.
We do.
That
And
was-
this is actually
Almost died at a racetrack.
this is going to be my dart for the week.
yes.
I had a couple more that were kind of lined up, but it was just boomer Facebook horse shit. One guy saying we should sue NASCAR in the Olympics for canceling racing in July, which is fucking stupid. But that guy's dumb. He doesn't need any acknowledgement. Just saying it out loud is enough. At Laguna Seca, of course, IndyCar was there this weekend. Alex Palou getting a big win there. Just completely dick stomped them. Pretty similar to the way that Christopher Bell dick stomped everybody this weekend in New Hampshire. This guy, I don't even know how the fuck he got out there. But he was on the
I think he climbed through that.
photographer's hole.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he was right next to it.
What is that called? It's not photographer's hole.
No, it has. It has a name that is eluding my mind right now.
Anyway,
But we're gonna go with photographer's hole.
Anyway, this jackass climbs through the photographer's hole onto the dirt, pretty much on the racetrack, and is trying to snap photos from the hot side of the wall. And it's just that is the dumbest thing you could ever do. And they're fucking fast at Laguna Seca. That's a fast race course. And at any
should
race
never
course,
be
you don't
on-
want to be on the other side.
Yeah.
It's not Group B rally, and especially at a place like that. I don't even know how the fuck he got in there, to begin with, but he made it out on the racetrack. But apparently, he did get chased down, and he tried to hide from security by jumping in a poison oak bush. So I would give him a punishment for being the dart for the week, but I feel like God himself
Punished
already
himself.
issued that, or by his own hand. So yeah, whoever this guy is, you're never coming back to the racetrack again, pal. But seriously, don't do
climb
that.
through holes.
Yeah, stay. The photographer's hole is there for a reason, and it's not to climb through. That's my dart for the week. Yeah, we can get into the septic tank now. Climb on in.
Climb into another hole.
By the way, I did not get the opportunity to check out that porta potty for $10 and check on its condition or anything like that. Yeah, I know.
That's too bad.
Yeah, the key, though, if you do want to pay for a nice clean bathroom, is just to make friends with your camping neighbors who have one I slip them a couple bucks here and there, and if you want to do that, you can. But I don't know. I just opened my Jeep door and pissed there. So that was that. Anyway, it was a busy weekend of racing. Ricky Thornton Jr. again asserting his dominance in the late model world. He waxed him at the Firecracker 100. I don't know if anyone can really catch him in Lucas Oil right now. He's just so far ahead of everyone else. In fact, his competitors are all just kind of saying, yeah, we don't know what to do. You know, he's just got the setup, and he's getting better and better. So when Mike Marlar and Jonathan Davenport are out there saying they're going to have a hard time doing it, that says something.
That was another race that unfortunately I fell asleep at the end of. But I watched almost all of the late model stuff all weekend at Lernerville. It was all really good, especially Thursday. I forget who won now, but Chubb Frank was up there fighting for a win.
Chubb Frank was in the mix. That's right. Ricky won.
Tim McCready. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Tim McCready too. He was doing real good all weekend. Really fun racing. I wanted to go, but it was the heat wave was just bad, man. I wasn't gonna go drive 2.5 hours to sit in 90-degree heat by myself. So watching from home was good at least. And the late models are going to be at Sharon in a couple weeks, which is like an hour closer. So I think I'm probably going to try to go to that. So
nice.
Also, the other thing I want to talk about before we talk about the other stuff, Friday at Utica Rome, the modified race was amazing. Probably one of the best ones I've seen live in a very long time. Yeah. So I got to look this guy's name up because it was a name I've never heard of. Let's see. Where's my notes? Mike Trouchold held off Stuart Friesen for 28 of 30 laps. Stuart was doing everything he fucking could to pass this guy and could not do it until 2 to go. One of the best battles in any series I've seen all year. I would say top 10 battles as far as a win. Really good. So I'm very glad I caught that on Friday.
Very nice. I got to watch more modified racing, man. I don't have the bandwidth for it. There's so fucking much of it, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on, and I just happened to tune in. Like, it was like, Lernerville wasn't running yet as far as the main, so I managed to just catch it, and it was good. But I mean, Albany Saratoga is going to have some stuff coming up, and tonight actually the Super Dirt Series is running there, but I don't know what that was streaming on. Probably Dirt Vision, I'm assuming.
Dirt Vision. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, Weed Sport's going to have stuff coming up and a few other tracks, so just keep an eye out.
Nice. Over in the 410 world, Corey Day won $76,000 at the Super Dirt Cup at Skagit. We've called it Skagit on the show previously. That is incorrect. It is Skagit. It sounds a lot less offensive. So congratulations to Corey Day. That's a very rich and talented young man you're going to hear a lot about. I'm sure NASCAR teams are already sniffing at trying to put him in a truck at some point. I don't think there's any question about that. Meanwhile, over in the world of Outlaws, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Houston's got completely flooded.
Those pictures were crazy.
Yeah, as I'm sitting at my camper waiting for rain to show up, I'm looking at videos. One of the rare times my phone worked, just looking at videos of very expensive campers with water, above the door line and all that. Just, completely washed that place out. They have rescheduled the High Bank Nationals up against the big high limit race in California in October, I believe. So that car count's going to be a lot less because there's a lot of high limit guys there. Then we'll be able to make the show, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully all those folks, I don't think anybody got hurt, but it's a lot of property damage and that shit sucks. Up here in New England, my buddy Carson Lofton did not make it up to Stafford to run the Casella Open 80, but Mike Christopher Jr., another cool dude, he picked up the win there. That was pretty cool. And again, of course, Justin Bodzanor winning the big NASCAR modified race up here in New England. We already talked about that. Lots of shit coming up this week. High limits at Lake of the Ozarks and at Lucas Oil Speedway up in Wheatland. World of Outlaws are going to Cedar Lake. Pennsylvania Speed Week is kicking off at Lincoln this Saturday. That's going to go all through next week as well. I'm sure we'll talk about that. A lot of heavy hitters hit that show up. USAC Midgets are going to IRP. That's always a big show. The World of Outlaws late model tour is in the middle of their Hell Tour right now up in the Midwest. There's racing pretty much tonight, tomorrow night, the night after. Like they go every single night. That's why it's called Hell Tour. It's a little bit of an endurance test, and it's always a good show. I'm sure Bobby Pierce will win some money throughout all that if he can get his shit together. Open Wheel Wednesday at Seekonk got pushed back to Thursday. That's going to be a big show. Again, it's tour-type modifieds, but they've opened the field up to SKs and I want to say SK Lights, too, just because it's not really a speed race track. So I'm expecting a huge car count at that show. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to it, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Also, Thompson is running that night, so they'll have another 5-car show, which is a bummer. And probably the big one in the asphalt world is the Battle of Broadway 150 at Nashville Fairgrounds. That's, of course, sort of an accompanying race to the Cup race down at the Super Speedway. Ross Chastain and Josh Berry are both strapping in late models, and they're going to run that race. And that should be a pretty cool show. And real quick, we did have a fan question from last week that got submitted right after we finished recording the show. And it's actually a pretty good one. Usually it's asking where Jay is, which we still don't know. Or Alex will ask us about cold beers or how to put thumbs through them or something, which we all know I don't know.
We also don't know.
I don't have an answer for that. Sorry, but I'm not a mutant, tough robot like you are. Well, we did get one from a guy, Tattered Checkers on Instagram. He says, who is your favorite... Oh, I just zoomed in on that photo in a way I can't read. Oh. Here we go. Who's your favorite dirt, short track, NASCAR crossover driver pre-Gordon? Which is a great question.
It's a very specific question.
Very specific question.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of answers I guess you could put out there, but I feel like Dick Trickle is sort of the ubiquitous one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of has to be Dick Trickle.
No, so we said dirt though, right? Or no?
Well, dirt and short track. Gary,
okay, so
you were going to say Gary Ballou, right? Because that's also another great answer.
Because he did everything. I mean, he did dirt, asphalt, short track. I mean, I don't, did Dick race much dirt? Like, I know he raced obviously tons of. No,
he was mostly asphalt, but
okay,
he's got over 1,000 wins to his credit. Yeah. He raced pretty much everything you could race on pavement, even modifieds up here in New England once in a while.
Yeah.
And he made it to NASCAR age 50, 55, the oldest rookie of the year in the sport's history, and I'm pretty sure that's going to stand for all of eternity. So I feel like you have to mention Dick Trickle. Of course, there's a lot of modified guides too, but again, that's not dirt. You can't talk about this without mentioning Ron Bouchard or Jeff Bodine, those guys.
Alan Kawicki also.
Alan Kawicki, Jimmy Spencer. But yeah, I got to stick with Dick on this one. And for the dirt side, I'm going to agree with you. I got to say Gary Ballou has to be the dude you mentioned.
Yeah,
again, his NASCAR career was a little bit stunted because of his own personal issues, but he was certainly somebody that I know that at least Dale Earnhardt and a few other Cup drivers really respected the shit out of.
Yeah, if the drug thing didn't happen, he would have made a name for himself because he was on his way up.
An honorable mention, though he never made it to NASCAR, I think Rich Vogler would have been interesting to watch. He was about to start making some Busch starts before he passed away. So that's the great what if for me, is how Rich Vogler would have done in a stock car. I think he would have probably acquitted himself pretty well. But yeah, we'll never know. True Love, you have any thoughts?
I don't, because I think the question was dirt because he said pre-Gordon. And for me, I was 7 when Gordon started racing.
Yeah.
So at that age, he really was the first one that I was really aware of that came from dirt. So
yeah,
within my lifetime, I can't think of anyone that I was a fan of pre-Gordon.
What about AJ Foyt though? He's got to be up there.
You can't not mention AJ Foyt either. Yeah, he was probably the best out of all of them. And Parnelli Jones too. He ran a bunch of Cup races, so I guess there are a lot. But but yeah, like you said, if we're talking general short track stuff, Dick Trickle's the first one that comes to mind for me, just based on the amount of shit he won before he got to NASCAR. But yeah, and Mario Andretti as well. That's a lot of famous race car drivers. So
yeah. I think we named them all.
We got them all, folks. But yeah, great question. And again, we always love to hear from you guys. So if you have any questions for us, you want to hear us try and rack our brains for anything, just ask us.
Yeah. Or if anyone knows where Jay is, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. His face is still on the milk carton out there. So we'd love to find him.
Yeah.
All right, so are you flushing this thing or what?
Yeah, I think I'm going to flush it. Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure you Venmo that guy first before you flush.
No, I'm not going to do it. Just like I didn't Venmo the guy for the shots, I'm not going to Venmo the guy for the flush.
No, that guy didn't deserve it.
He did not deserve it. Thanks for the Jack Daniels, bud.
Videos of the week this week. We stayed in New Hampshire with very different videos from 3 different events. I guess you could say that. So we'll start off with the hot on the heels of the short track and modified talk. The 95 Featherlight Modified Slick 50/40 from New Hampshire. This was obviously a little bit of a delayed broadcast, so it's pretty much all there, though, all you need to see. We had Mike Joy, Buddy Baker, and Jeff Fuller as the commentators. Absolutely great commentary team.
Yes.
Couldn't really ask for much better there. There were a handful of names that I recognized. I mean, I'm Rob obviously knows a whole lot more about modifieds than we do, but there were a handful of people I recognized. Jan Leedy was on the poll. I actually just listed a shirt of his
Nice.
before I even watched this video in the store. So if you want a Jan Leedy shirt out there, I got a size large in the store right now. Hit up the link. You'll hear it at the end of the.
Hey, you don't see those too
broadcast.
often, so.
No. And yeah, modified stuff, especially asphalt, doesn't come up much. Steve Park, this was before, obviously, he was in NASCAR, or at least, stock cars. And he was in 5th. Hear a lot from him in this broadcast, next to Rick Fuller, Jeff's brother. There's a guy named Eddie Flemke in the Hummel hot dogs car. Now, when I first heard this, I really perked up because I thought they said Humboldt's hot dogs, which Humboldt's are a very they're from Troy, New York, which is my hometown area. I grew up eating these things. I would eat them cold. They were the really tight casing that snapped when you ate it, and my grandma would get these things. We'd always have them at family events and stuff, and I'd eat them cold. Like, that's how good they were. So I thought that's what he was sponsored by, and then I looked it up and I was very disappointed. But hot dog sponsorships are always great regardless. Yes. Reggie Ruggiero was in there. A couple really cool names. The first, Satch Worley,
Another
just
legend.
a cool fucking name.
Yeah.
Mike Stefanik was in there. Tommy Baldwin.
Yeah, Jamie Tomeno was in there. I mean, basically the who's who. Steve Park, of course.
Another name I loved, S.J. Evanison. They highlighted that he had won a Massachusetts track title 25 years prior to this, so really aging him in this. But yeah, 40-lap race. Steve Park jumped out to an early lead and pretty much, dominated the whole fucking race. We'll get to that. But right off the bat, there was a comment made by, I guess, one of the camera guys saying they look like slot cars, which is kind of true. I do remember having a Matchbox modified when I was very little, and they very much look like slot cars. I mean, the big-ass tires that stuck way out and stuff, I mean, they're very unique, but still very cool machines. Fast as shit. They had to run restrictor plates long before the Adam Petty and Kenny Irwin stuff happened. When the Cup cars had to start running them, they were already in the cars here because, I mean, what do those things get up to without the plates? They're up to 140, 150 with them.
Even faster than that. Yeah, the racing very, very similar to what you see now when you go to one of these races. So again, like, these shows are always excellent. This one was a good one too.
Yeah, a lot of drafting. That was very important in these things. Jeff Fuller's accent was on full display here. The one quote that really stuck out to me: "Watch this 8-car." Like, just there were so many little drops like that he made throughout the broadcast, but that was one that really just popped.
Jeff
Buddy
Fuller,
Baker loved it too.
Yeah, Jeff Fuller from right up the road from where I live, and I believe his granddaughter or daughter, I forget which one, but someone very close to him, Meg Fuller, races the SKs down at Stafford, so the family tradition's still alive and well.
Don't you have a T-shirt?
I'm wearing it right now.
Oh.
Actually, we're talking about this.
I've seen that name recently.
Yeah, I'm a Meg Fuller fan, so.
There you go. Look at that, Rob. Wearing his T-shirt for our audio-only podcast.
It's true. You can't see it, but it's there. Trust me. I got a Steve Park T-shirt too. I can put on if y'all want. So.
There we go.
As mentioned, Steve Park really had this thing in the bag pretty much the whole time. Although Tony Hirschman was really doing his best. He was on his ass the whole time, doing what he could to try to get around him, and made many attempts, but couldn't do it. 14 to go. Brad Hialta spun out basically by arrow in front of him. And after that, the Park and Hirschman battle continued, although Jan Leedy was there also battling for second place and trying to make his way up there. Really, really good battle. Like, I've only watched a couple modified races, but even though it was, you know, not it's not like we saw the passing we did on Sunday in these things, but still very entertaining overall. And yeah, the battle at the very end, like the last couple laps, he did everything he could. Like that last dive into turn one, he threw everything he could at him and just couldn't pull it off. But it was really good race. And afterwards, Steve Park, his accent also was very thick here. I know when he got in a cup, he dialed it down a little bit. It was wicked fast. Yeah, wicked fast. Definitely code switched a little bit. He was wicked fast, and he showed it. I want to say baby Steve Park, but he was 28 here, so he wasn't like an actual baby.
Yeah, not too long from then he was in Cup.
Yeah.
But this is a classic race. Pretty much all the old Loudon shows, or anytime you can find a modified race from that era with the TNN coverage, it's definitely worth a watch. I very much enjoyed this one, and you are correct. There is a longer version of this broadcast on YouTube with kind of shitty quality. It's a tough watch, but this one is much better.
There's a bunch of different races from New Hampshire out there, but this was the best one that was both like the quality of the video and also the time, because I had the other ones I wanted to show. Like I said, I found one that had full commercials and everything, but the audio was just absolutely unwatchable. Like it just made it, couldn't do it. So
yeah, I love again seeing races and talking about races from this era, because all the same names are still around. You know, the Pastriacs are still out there running. Obviously Ted Christopher, unfortunately, is no longer with us, but, his whole family is still out there racing. Mike Christopher Jr. just won. So, and Mike Christopher Sr. is the guy who put those cars together for him. Just such of course, Tony Hirschman, he's heavily involved in NASCAR now. So, just a lot of the same names, and the family tradition is very strong here. A lot of champions and a lot of crossover from the old days here, especially with Satch Worley being out there and Jan and all those guys. It's just so cool to see this sort of transitional period where these big time guys are still out there racing the young guns, which at this point was Ted Christopher and Mike Stefanik, which is crazy to say since they're both no longer with us. But they. One more thing I wanted to mention about the modified race. Justin Bonsignor is now third on the all-time wins list in NASCAR-sanctioned modified racing. He tied Mike Stefanik this week, which is a huge, huge accomplishment. So congratulations to him. I can't imagine what that feels like to have your name up next to those dudes. So yeah, good for him.
Yeah, when they showed him on Saturday, they said he was 36, and I was very surprised by that because he doesn't look 36. He looks younger.
No, he feels like a young guy, but he's been around a long time. Same with Priest and a lot of these dudes. They don't age all that much. I guess Ryan Priest just kind of looks like a dude.
Yeah.
Like a stock character, from a video game a little bit. No offense to Ryan, I'm a big fan.
He does have a very intense, army guy look to him.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. But yeah, just a lot of big names in this, and definitely cool to see, some folks that are even kind of still hanging around. Jamie Tomato up until a couple of years ago is still strap in, and he's a champion. I think he won the '89 championship, if I remember correctly. Any modified fans out there can tell me I'm wrong about that, but yeah, just the fact that you can still see a couple of these guys out there, and more than a few of them still involved, is really fucking cool. So yeah, good pick, Brian.
Yeah. As someone who is not very familiar with Northeast modified history, the whole time I was watching this, I was like, man, these names are so Northeast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
and anytime the
or
announcers said the name Tomato, I would swear to God they were saying tomato every time.
Yeah, if you watch this stuff or, Dirt Modifieds or Bush North, yeah, the names are very, very Northeast.
Satch Worley. That's if that's not a modified driver, I don't know what it is. So yeah.
And I guess I wasn't aware that Steve Park came from that background.
Oh yeah.
So the whole
yeah.
race, they were calling him Stephen Park, and
Yes.
I was like, oh, I was like, is that just a coincidence? And then towards the end of the race, I finally figured out it was the same fucking guy. It's like, who is this Stephen guy?
Yep.
That's just Steve. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Steve.
So sticking in New Hampshire, Laconia. This next little 3-minute clip is kind of just more to remind me of family memories. So obviously New Hampshire has had the Laconia motorcycle races. You know, this was at 91. I think this was.
It just
when
wrapped
it's
up,
from.
in fact.
Yeah. It's an annual spring thing, I guess. But you know, in 91, this was their 68th race. I mean, racing long before NASCAR and modifieds were there, motorcycle racing was there, and my family was very into motorcycles. I mean, all forms of racing. I mean, that's where I went to all of my first racing experiences with family members, but motorcycle in particular. I actually never went to Laconia though, so I went to a lot of motorcycle races, pretty much any Northeast outdoor motocross race I went to at some point.
Yep.
Supercross, arena cross. Once I got into NASCAR and modifieds, though, also when I got to be like 7, 8, 9, 10, I stopped going to those races with them. And I remember it's probably somewhere around 12, 13, my mom was trying to get my grandpa to take me to one of these weekends with all the guys. And he said no because like they went to strip clubs and stuff. So, which, you know, that's fair. I mean,
definitely
that
a
would've been very
biker
awkward
weekend
for-
unless of like a motorcycle race. You know?
Yeah.
Even though
and
there's a shit ton of it, you know. But
you get that vibe from this clip, which is why I figured I'd pick it. And
I'm not.
He's not
I'm
trying
not
to babysit your ass.
yeah. I'm not big into motorcycle culture or anything, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean the two biggest shows in the U.S. are Sturgis and Laconia Bike Week, as far as I know.
I would argue Daytona's bigger than
Daytona.
Laconia.
Oh yeah, Daytona. That's the other one, but definitely one of the 5 biggest, and certainly in the Northeast. You know,
At least compared to the other ones, though, I mean, obviously all the debaucherous shit happens there, but it always seems a little more subtle than the other ones. You know, again, maybe it's because my family went and God knows what they got into, because trust me, I know they all drank pretty heavily. As I got older, I figured all that out, so I'm sure they partied real fucking hard.
right?
But yeah, you get that vibe a little bit from this video. I mean, as much as you could from a local news broadcast at 6 o'clock. But
Great little clip. Great little clip.
yeah, I mean, it was very 1991 for sure.
It's kind of funny to see Loudon at that time and actually get some sort of shots of the area, because a lot of the videos you see now are just, you know, it's NASCAR or it's modifieds, it's of the racetrack. You know, you don't really get to see the area around the speedway, and there's a lot of that in here, and I know exactly where those fucking gas stations are, you know, like, or where they used to be, that is, you know. And
Yeah, Jeff Smith, he was very busy. Didn't want to be on camera in his grocery store, and the fucking TV lady is asked, well, so what are you selling? And just he rattles off this entire most basic ass like party camping weekend grocery
as
list
he's
of shit
tossing
you would need.
cigarettes into a paper bag.
In with the bread and chips.
Classic shit.
Yeah, when the news lady started off her little piece saying bikers, as they're called, I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
And as a bonus in this clip, I didn't even realize this till I watched it. There was a clip from prior to the racing that weekend of a guy. What the hell was the guy's name? But some Evel Knievel type guy.
Doug Danger.
Doug Danger jumping 41 Chevy Cavaliers in front of excited Loudon, New Hampshire motorcycle
And it
crowd.
was packed. It was very packed.
Doug's a weird-looking guy. I've seen a lot of these different stunt guys and motorcycle guys over the years. Doug Danger did not ring a bell, and he was a very odd-looking bird.
Yeah, the Cavalier
Well, I
jumping man.
googled him, and he only got worse with age. So
Nice.
Yeah, some guys age gracefully, not Doug.
I'm
apparently.
gonna pull this guy up and see if I can get some more photos.
yeah, well, give him a Google, because he's like when you ask your mom for Evel Knievel, and she says, we have Evel Knievel at home.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Doug. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he does look like a little rough here.
There was one lady they interviewed during the biker part, though, who said that, I think they said something along the lines of, a lot of the visitors just never even make it to the races. They're just there for the people watching and the partying. So
Of course.
might be a descendant of those people from the shots tent.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's more of a variant of the yee culture, but there is some similar DNA strands between the two, I suppose. But that fucking guy.
So, with that,
Yeah,
our
let's
final
take
New
a
Hampshire,
hard left turn here.
our final New Hampshire clip of the show.
It's
so
a
this
video
is
a boy made.
Yes, this one. So this,
Literal child.
yeah, this is our second stop motion race of the season, and this one was an actual child made this.
I
and it
would
was only-
almost count last week's video as a stop motion video, the way it made me feel. But yes, technically second.
Well, no, we had the actual stop motion sprint car race
We
earlier.
did.
You don't remember that?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is technically
okay.
number 2, but last week's felt the same.
Yeah, I guess.
My
that's-
brain filed it away as part of that group. But yeah,
So, this was the Faden stop motion racing series. Faden, I guess, was the kid who did all this stuff by himself. At least I hope he did it by himself. 6 laps, 16 drivers. First race of the series at this little.
at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Yeah, I guess you could call it that. Did a nice full field rundown. I'll give him that. He had all the sound effects correct, and Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson were on the front row. He spelled Joey Logano's name wrong, so that
fine.
He is a boy.
listen, I gotta point things out. Also, Kyle Busch's car. He had a Kyle Busch car tomorrow in the mix with all these other cars that were of era correct. I guess this was like 2016
Yeah.
or 2017, so I don't know, something like that. But
Made it through the tech
yeah,
shed, though.
apparently, well, he didn't do very well in the race, so it's
No.
fine. The animation wasn't quite as smooth as the other sprint car video we watched.
Incredibly
but
slow
it was,
cars, but
yeah, it was a short race though, so and a small track. So
again,
what
a
are you
boy.
gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
A literal child.
Yeah, a boy, little boy. Lap 2, Kyle Busch, Pop's little boy,
Oh, we're
Austin
gonna
Dillon.
break this down, huh?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's only 6 laps. Kyle Busch got into it with Pop's little boy, Clint Boyer, and William Byron. Eric Jones comes from the back and gets the lead on lap 3. Lap 4, Martin Truex wrecked Kyle Larson and collected Denny Hamlin and Jimmy Johnson, all of them out of the race. And then Truex has the lead in the last lap, but Paul Menard, out of nowhere, Paul Menard gets a last pass and takes the win.
Amazing. Yeah, good for Paul.
He does some victory.
I mean,
He did win a TA2 race.
yeah, the real life Paul Menard.
Trans Am.
Still out there winning races.
He has won 4 races this year, folks.
He's
4.
a nasty fucking road racer. There's no
Yeah.
question about that.
So,
I thought he was fully retired. I was wrong.
Now he's runs Trans Am and hangs out and whoops people's asses, apparently.
but yeah, did a little Paul Menard donut with some cotton ball clouds.
I
at the
really
very
liked
end.
his little cotton smoke effects.
Yes,
good.
that was
Yeah.
that was very nice.
I appreciated
and
that.
then at the end, title text here to fade us out. So
Yeah, he ended it with a bless your heart moment.
I mean, listen, it was only 4 minutes, and there were longer ones I could have used. There was one that was it was labeled as a New Hampshire race, but it was just cars being rolled down like a big ramp. That's all it was, like not an oval or anything. So I picked a short one for you guys. But what'd you think? What'd you think of the stop motion race?
Not bad for a boy.
Yeah, for a literal child, I
Considering
would have loved to have this set up in my room.
Oh,
as a
straight
kid.
up. Yeah, I that's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, who among us did not race cars around the edge of a rug?
Oh, of course.
You know, it's acceptable for a child.
Yeah.
Yes.
He had his computer paper print-offs, his scotch tape, his little plastic trees.
Yeah. I'm sure I would have done some shit like this if the internet was where it is now when 100%. I was 10 years old. So,
100%. But yeah, who among us has not done some variation of this?
Yeah. We just didn't put it on YouTube.
No.
Yeah.
But again, it's a boy. It's okay. Now there's, what's the cutoff? Like 10? Not to crush any dreams out there.
I would say like 12, 13 maybe.
12, 13, yeah.
I'm going to stick with 10.
10. Between 10 and 12. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sorry, folks. Brian's about to drop his stop motion channel and just alienate himself from the entire audience here.
Anyways, so those are the videos of the week this week, and for this week, so NASCAR's in Nashville, Nashville this weekend, and so with all the other shit that's been going on this season.
Hey, Brian, real quick, can you jiggle your cable?
Hold on.
Sounds like you're popping loose here. He's gonna announce another fucking stop motion video, so I had to put a stop to that.
It's gonna be something else that he didn't watch beforehand.
Yeah.
Promise it's not stop motion. So, anyways, as I was saying, with all the other shit that's been going on this year in NASCAR and the racing world, it seems like the talk of bringing, the downtown Nashville track back, it's kind of quieted down. I don't know what the status of that is.
It has a lot to do with the parking lot they're building in the Titan Stadium. They're doing a lot of renovations there, so that's a several-year project. So that's not going to happen for a little while.
Okay. So granted, so NASCAR's at the concrete track, and kind of continuing the history lesson of the last few weeks that we've done with different things, and also continuing the news segments that I've found that have been interesting. I found a clip that is it's a 5-part series, but when I say 5 parts, it's 12 minutes combined. So I think this is like a 2-minute segment that happened every day of the week for this local news channel. It's the history of racing in Nashville up until 1987. So,
nice.
Kind of an interesting clip. So, figured that'd be, a fun history lesson.
Presented in stop motion by a boy.
And
two children acting out a news anchor.
Tim Richmond stealing a cop car and driving around the racetrack.
Yeah. Talking about Nashville, so while it doesn't seem like we're going to see NASCAR there anytime in the next couple years, there was plenty of racing that has happened and does still happen there, and we're going to continue the history of monster truck racing, TNT Nashville 1988. This is a cool clip because not to get too into it, but at this point in the season, the trucks are starting to figure out how to race. Nashville being a straight line, all asphalt track, it's fast, and kind of see more of the issues that Bigfoot has. Let's say that. So that's 2 cool clips. No weird bullshit this weekend to annoy you guys. It'll be fun, well enjoyed videos. So
nice.
Those are already on the playlist.
Very cool. Thank you. We had 2 good ones this week. So
I'll find some wacky shit for next week, though. I'll dig something up.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to make your own stop motion video. It's gonna be good. You have to do it now.
I don't have enough
like a Run What You Brung kind of series,
I don't have too many small die casts. I don't really collect die
casts. You go to
the
flea market on Saturday, you find the dollar bin.
Yeah.
Stock up.
Don't make me do this, please.
Chop, chop.
Yeah, chop, chop.
Okay.
Chop that construction paper.
So, as we said, NASCAR's in Nashville. What else is going on this weekend? Are we all taking a weekend off of going to races? Anybody doing anything?
I've spent all the money I have. I can't even think about going to a racetrack if I wanted to. There's a lot of shit happening in New England, but not for me.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's too hot here.
It sucks.
I'm trying. I have a couple things. Like I said, I think I want to go to Lucas Oil Late Models in Sharon in like 2 weeks, and then I know. I think the 3rd weekend of July, I'm going out to Syracuse There's a big car show at the fairgrounds that my dad wants to go to, but I'm gonna try to go to Weed Sport, I think, the night before. So
Nice.
I got stuff coming in July, but
Same,
nothing
yeah,
the next couple
same.
weeks.
I think my next race on the schedule is the Duel at the Dog at Monadnock. That's always a really cool weekend with the NASCAR modifieds and all the local divisions. That track fucking rules. By the way, shout out to my friends whose names I do not remember that we smoked weed off the ground with. They're all Monadnock regulars. So,
Excellent. All right. Well, with that, as always, you can follow us on Instagram at Meet Me at Applebee's and on Twitter at Meet Me at DeBees. I am Speedway Screens on all the things. SpeedwayTSJ.etsy.com is where you can get that Jan Leedy shirt. And Meemaw, what do you want to plug?
Nothing.
nothing to plug.
No plugs here.
Just your eyes the next time stop motion pops up on the show.
Yeah. If anyone has a link they can send me to watch Chase Elliott race at Five Flags this weekend.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
send me a
I
link,
forgot to mention that. Yeah.
Is that on Flow, maybe?
I want to say.
Hey, it's Racing America?
Racing America?
Yeah.
Oh, we know somebody who can hook you up with a link with that.
Yeah.
If you can find him.
Well, where's he at?
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta find him first. Rob Motes _ unofficial on Instagram. My band's called These Wild Plains. I do want to give a quick, kind of a sad shout out here. My good buddy Pete from a band called Holy Roller, of course, one of my good friends and bass player in These Wild Plains. Brady, he's in a band with this guy Pete. Excellent dude. Staple of the Richmond community. Him and his lady were in a pretty bad motorcycle accident. I feel like every time I bring up something sad in the show, it's a fucking motorcycle accident. But
Yeah.
hit and run, same deal. Pete's laid up in the hospital. They're both okay, but he's going to be in there for a few days. And I don't know if there's going to be a GoFundMe because that shit's expensive or not or whatever. But if you know Pete or you know Holy Roller, just send him a message and say what's up. I'm sure you could use your encouragement, and we're all thinking about you, bub. Get well soon, please.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. And with that, looks like the check is here. So thanks for joining us again, and we'll talk to you next week.